Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome everyone to Satsang. Mm. Hope you all are well and happy. This instruction, let everything dissolve, comes from Astravakya Gita, the song of Astravakya. This instruction is really important, not only for understanding who you are, but also just for living a happy, contented life, isn't it? In order for us to feel the innate presence of our own happiness, we have to be willing to let everything go, everything but this awareness which you are. This awareness is the foundation for everything that you think you are, and also makes it possible for you to know who you actually are. The simple and direct way to know who am I is to keep letting go, clinging to nothing, letting everything dissolve. Because as you know, whether you want it to or not, everything will eventually dissolve. But if you try to push things away, to resist, then they hang on. Resistance, pushing away, denial, these are forms of clinging. So the Gita suggests to us that the way to avoid this pitfall, or this drawback to sadhana, is to just let everything dissolve. Sometimes the mind clings to things just out of habit, doesn't it? So sometimes all we can do is just remember to let everything dissolve. That doesn't necessarily mean that because in a given moment I remember to let this dissolve, that it actually will in that moment. It certainly can, but if there's enough momentum behind whatever it is we're clinging to, whether it be a thought, an emotion, a feeling, a desire, whatever it is, it may still keep rising in the mind or in the heart as feeling. But this is the momentum of conditioning. This is not who you are. If you recognize this by remembering, cling to nothing, let everything dissolve. This cuts at the conditioning at the root. Eventually, sooner or later, whatever it is that keeps rising in conditioning will stop. Through this simple practice, let everything dissolve. Cling to nothing. So I encourage you to take this up. This helps us to remember that we are not our thoughts, not our emotions, not our circumstances. We are that which is aware of all of these experiences that are passing through the mind and the heart, and gently brings us back to resting in the heart of being, as being, consciousness, and bliss. This short poem that I shared with you this morning Radiant heart, ocean of grace, dissolve this into thee, like a salt doll into the sea. This came to me one morning when I was sitting quietly in Ramana ashram. And immediately released me from the stress of me-ness. Because whether you realize it or not, when you are sitting in me-ness, concerned with what is mine, whether you realize it or not, when this me-ness is present, there is a subtle or gross, small or large stress that's related to supporting this idea of me, to defending this idea of me. So a simple verse like this can be of great benefit to us when we're feeling this pressure to be me. These words were a gift to me from Ramana. I give them to you. Radiant heart is your nature. Ocean of grace is where you live. Dissolve this, meaning this me-ness, into thee, into this ocean of grace, into the ocean of your own being. Like a salt doll into the sea. This is a description that Sri Ramana gave for this process of dissolution of me into the Supreme. It's a beautiful image, isn't it? You can all picture what it would be like for a salt doll to be dropped into the sea. It would simply dissolve into the ocean, into nothing, joining in unity with everything around it. So no matter where you find yourselves, no matter what your circumstance is, good or bad, happy or sad, Let all of that dissolve into your own heart. Let everything go. Realize yourself to be that which is aware. Let everything else pass. All right, who has something they'd like to share this morning? Anyone? As I look around the room this morning, I can see that the room is mostly full of the quiet ones. So perhaps we'll just keep quiet, huh? Please, if you have something though, just unmute yourself. Otherwise, we'll just keep quiet together.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. This is my first time here.
Welcome.
Thank you. I do have a question. When this momentum of conditioning, when it's happening really strongly, and there's no remembering of awareness or any suggestion like what to you know, what to do.
You're right to point out that the momentum of conditioning can be really strong at some times. But the question I have for you is, does it go on forever?
It does seem that in my experience, there's always kind of like a ebbing and a flowing, maybe, of the.
So at the time that it diminishes, isn't it true that there is a noticing that happens? Something along the lines of, oh, I've been involved in this conditioned thought or feeling or whatever for however long, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 days. There is a recognition as it begins to subside. Oh, I was caught up in that. So there's a recognition that the conditioning ebbs and flows, as you said, right?
Yes.
Yes. So the tendency most often for practitioners, for sadhaks, until there's a pretty firm stability, is to grab onto that experience, which is already past actually, and to say, oh, I'm a victim of my conditioning, or oh, I was caught in my conditioning, and to then identify with that conditioning. So at the moment that we're caught, there's very little that we can do about it, because awareness is not, attention is not focused on awareness itself. Attention is focused on the conditioning. Isn't that true?
Yes.
So we have to be very kind. And at the moment that we realize, oh, I was caught, I was wrapped up in that conditioning, even if it was for 5 days, we have to be very kind. The way that we're most kind is to realize, but now I am awake. Now I am aware that I was caught up in the conditioning. So what we have to do is we have to end the blame game, which is the natural way that conditioning reconditions itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
You've,
a little routine in the program.
That's right. That's right. And the way that that gets supported is that we just keep saying to ourselves in some form or another, maybe these aren't exactly your words, but in some form or another, we keep saying to ourselves, oh, you see, I'm not awakened. This is proof I'm not enlightened. I'll never get there. I'll always have this conditioning. So this is some sort of a dialogue that goes on in the mind, but this dialogue is also not who you are. This is part of the conditioning, the part that wants to keep that conditioning going, that wants to keep you feeling like you have accomplished nothing. This is all based in ego. This is all based in the false sense, I am the body, or I am the personality, or I am the mind, or I am the emotions. Pick your poison. This is the way that the mind operates and strengthens itself. So it's important to begin to understand from a different perspective that the moment that you come to the understanding, oh, conditioning was here. Now I see that I am aware of the conditioning. Therefore, I cannot be that conditioning. That conditioning can still go on the mind. It will still creep in, it can still creep in from time to time, but it doesn't define who I am, because as soon as I come back to the here and now, I realize, oh, I was trapped. Now I'm free. As soon as you realize that you are free in this moment, then everything that came before is gone. So cut this tendency to pile on and to blame yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And begin to string together the moments of clarity. And those moments are the moments, Philip, in which you say, oh, I was caught. Now I'm not. So you begin to string together these moments of recognition that in this moment, I am clear. In this moment, I am free. And eventually this becomes your foundation. Remember that conditioning is just a matter of something that is repeated in the mind as a belief, a desire, a whatever, primarily as a system of beliefs that goes on over and over and over. So this is a natural thing that happens in an untrained, we can say, mind, or a mind which isn't firm yet, maybe is a better way to put it. So the way we get to this firm state is by showing the mind over and over, oh, I have seen that. Now I'm clear. A moment ago, I was in conditioning. Now I am clear. And then as you do that over and over again, you are actually not doing anything except using the mind's tendency to create a different perception. The perception being, I am aware, I am free in this moment. Even if I was not free a moment ago, even if I am not free a moment from now, in this moment I am free. Do this over and over, and eventually it becomes your truth.
I like that, acknowledging, like, oh, I'm awake now. I'm free now. I see this now.
Yeah.
um, yeah.
And because the tool is so simple, because this is such a simple way of being, oh, I am clear now, I am aware now, I'm here now. I see that conditioning. Even if I'm still disturbed, I see that conditioning. That is such a simple tool that it just cuts through all the complication that the mind loves. And so it frees us up from that,
Mm,
creates a different momentum.
mm.
Mm.
Thank you very much.
Mm.
Yeah,
Very welcome. Happy to see you.
of course.
Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Vandinan Mrityor Mukshya Mamritawa Swaha Bhuva Bhu Om Sat Jum Ham Om. Namaste. Nice to see you all again. May you be well, happy, and peaceful. May all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. Hari Om. Tat Sat.